Inanda's streets are overrun by a gang of young recruits. Between 500 to 1,000 West Gang members in a single area, growing stronger as they recruit troubled boys from broken backgrounds. They don't just terrorize the community, they enforce the will of powerful men behind bars, receiving money and drugs in exchange for their brutality. Should we call Munkobi their leader? Well, maybe he is just a messenger answering to higher powers. On February 8th, 2025. Following an intense standoff, 3 suspects have been taken down in a deadly shootout. These men were not just petty criminals. They were linked to a series of murders and assassination attempts, including those of police officers. The SAP's Inanda task team, working alongside the Metro Police Special Operations Directorate, had been tracking this group for weeks. Acting on intelligence, they moved in on a house in this very neighborhood, where the suspects were hiding. What followed was a fierce gun battle. Bullets tore through the walls as officers engaged in a life-or-death struggle. When the dust settled, 3 gang members lay dead. This is the full story of the shootout between the police and the Inanda West Gang. Welcome back to my channel. Kindly like and subscribe. This video explores the rise and impact of the Inanda West Gang, a group of young criminals responsible for a wave of violence and fear in their communities. Their activities have contributed to a surge in crime across Durban North and nearby areas, turning once peaceful neighborhoods into hotspots of danger. These individuals thrive on lawlessness, showing little regard for human life. The gang has been linked to a range of violent offenses, including murders, assaults, drug distribution, carjackings, and home invasions. Their reign of terror has left many residents living in constant fear, with attacks happening during everyday activities. Even those in the Community Policing Forum, CPF, who have taken a stand against them, have been targeted. In June 2024, a CPF member was fatally attacked at his residence in the Zangu area. That same night, the gang launched another assault in Newtown C, where they killed a second CPF member in front of his wife. A week earlier, they had already claimed another victim, yet another CPF member shot and killed in the area. By July 2024, the violence escalated further when law enforcement tracked down 3 individuals linked to multiple homicides, including the killing of Sergeant Thabete. These suspects were confronted by police in the Inanda Kono area and ultimately lost their lives in the ensuing confrontation. Sergeant Thabete, a committed officer from the Kwamushu tracking team, had been ambushed, disarmed, and killed with his own service weapon. In another incident that same month, a suspect was shot and killed by law enforcement in Escalin Mangala after he attempted to fire at officers. Earlier that day, he had been involved in an ATM bombing at a local business. A major police operation in Inanda led to a dramatic shootout that left 6 suspects dead. Officers, acting on intelligence, tracked the gang to a hideout. These individuals, linked to multiple crimes such as home invasions, carjackings, murders, and business robberies, immediately opened fire when confronted by police. By the end of the gunfight, 6 suspects had been neutralized, while 3 others, including 2 men and a 31-year-old woman, were taken into custody. Earlier in March 2024, the gang was also suspected of involvement in the brutal murder of Durban art dealer Alan Gordon. Reports suggest that 2 men who had been living and working with Gordon in his Durban North home violently beat him to death. Investigators believe the suspects placed his body in the trunk of his VW SUV, drove to a remote area in Inanda, set his remains on fire, and returned the vehicle to his home in an apparent attempt to conceal their crime. Concerns arose when Gordon's brother reported him missing. CPF members and police officers arrived at his residence to investigate. With assistance from neighbors, authorities tracked down the 2 men who had been staying with Gordon. One suspect reportedly confessed to the crime. Investigators, working swiftly and with the help of informants, located 3 additional suspects hiding in Mavuti, Inanda. A separate intelligence-led operation targeted a young but notorious gang leader, Munkobi, and his two accomplices. They were reportedly en route to Umhlanga to retrieve weapons and narcotics. To evade detection, they switched vehicles after their pickup, but officers had already identified their movements and were tracking them closely. The pursuit led to Vincent Dickinson Road in Cottonlands, where the suspects stopped their vehicle, unaware of the police presence closing in. When officers approached, the gang opened fire, resulting in a gunfight. The confrontation ended with the deaths of 22-year-old Munkobi and his 27-year-old associate, while a third suspect managed to flee and remains at large. Munkobi had been wanted for multiple violent crimes, including over 10 homicides, as well as attempted murders, robberies, intimidation, and arson. Authorities recovered a firearm from his possession. Despite law enforcement's efforts, the Inanda West gang continues to pose a threat. Following their leader's death, some members relocated to other areas, such as Bamshela, north of Ndwedwe, where they have continued their criminal activities. The fear among residents persists as the gang adapts and regroups. The true masterminds behind these criminal operations often remain hidden, recruiting young individuals to execute their plans. Munkobi and his group were likely working for a larger network, carrying out tasks on behalf of suppliers or more powerful figures in the criminal underworld. To dismantle these operations effectively, authorities must target those orchestrating the crimes rather than just eliminating foot soldiers, who are easily replaced by younger recruits eager to prove themselves. This endless cycle allows gang activity to persist. However, there is a growing sense of support from the community for law enforcement's crackdown on crime. Recent operations have proven more effective, and as more criminals are brought to justice, residents are beginning to feel a renewed sense of hope. While the fight against the Inanda West gang is far from over, each successful operation brings law-abiding citizens one step closer to reclaiming their communities. The rise of the Inanda West gang is a stark reminder of how deeply crime can take root in communities when poverty, lack of opportunity, and powerful criminal networks go unchecked. While law enforcement has made significant strides in disrupting the gang's activities, the battle is far from over. The gang's ability to recruit vulnerable young boys and maintain its operations despite losing key members shows that the real challenge lies in dismantling the system that enables these groups to thrive. To truly break the cycle of violence, authorities must go beyond eliminating individual gang members and focus on targeting the masterminds behind these operations. At the same time, social interventions are needed to provide alternatives for at-risk youth who are easily lured into a life of crime. Without addressing the root causes, the next generation of gang members is already waiting in the shadows, ready to take the place of those who fall. Each arrest, each successful operation, and each act of defiance against these gangs brings hope that one day, the people of Inanda and surrounding areas will no longer have to live in fear. The fight for justice is ongoing, and the road ahead is long. But as long as communities and law enforcement stand together, there is a chance to turn the tide against the violence that has gripped these streets for far too long.
Police are investigating a case of murder following the death of former professional footballer Mark Batchelor.
Police are searching for suspects who shot and killed soccer legend Mark Batchelor. Batchelor was gunned down in a hail of bullets outside his home in Olivedale, Johannesburg.
Mark Batchelor, a South African football legend and 1996 AFCON winner, went from lifting trophies to being entangled in the shadows of the underworld, culminating in his shocking murder in a hail of bullets. How did it all go so wrong? On July 15, 2019, South African football legend and 1996 AFCON winner Mark Batchelor met a tragic end. While driving into his Johannesburg home at around 7 p.m. in his BMW X5, accompanied by his gardener, two men on motorbikes ambushed him and fatally shot him multiple times through his car window. His death shocked many, But his journey from celebrated sportsman to a man entangled in the underworld is a story that still raises eyebrows. Born in Johannesburg in the early 1970s, Bachelor started his football career playing for amateur teams in his neighborhood. It wasn't until the 1990s, when he joined Dynamos, that he began to gain recognition. Over the years, he played for some of South Africa's biggest clubs, including Bidvest Wits, Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, Mamelodi Sundowns, SuperSport United, and Morocco Swallows. Most notably, he secured 4 major trophies with Orlando Pirates, cementing his legacy in South African football. In 2003, Bachelor hung up his boots and transitioned into a career as a football pundit with SuperSport, where his sharp analysis made him a fan favorite. Unfortunately, his off-air life was far less polished. In 2007, Bachelor's questionable lifestyle began to catch up with him. He and some friends were accused of assaulting a man with knuckle dusters. Although not caught red-handed, a gym instructor identified him as one of the attackers. This incident cost Bachelor his job at SuperSport and marked the beginning of a downward spiral. With no steady income, Bachelor's financial struggles led him to make some shady choices. He started associating with notorious figures, including retired boxer and infamous hitman Mikey Schultz. Their association raised eyebrows, as Schultz was a key figure in Johannesburg's underworld, even confessing to the murder of mining tycoon Brett Kebbel. The two seemed inseparable at first, but their relationship eventually soured. Schultz publicly accused Bachelor of being a con artist and a coward, adding fuel to the speculation that Bachelor was deeply involved in criminal activities. Bachelor's troubles didn't end there. In 2013, he and Schultz were witnesses in the high-profile murder trial of athlete Oscar Pistorius, further tarnishing Bachelor's reputation. By this point, he was no longer seen as a retired football hero, but as a man deeply entrenched in a dangerous world. Despite his criminal associations, Bachelor pursued business ventures, including plans to start a private security firm catering to Cape Town nightclubs, a lucrative but risky industry rife with violence. He also set up a debt collection business, which brought in money but also earned him enemies. His life became a constant balancing act between profit and danger. Friends and family tried to intervene, urging Bachelor to leave his shady dealings behind. One former rugby star, a longtime friend and mentor, revealed his failed attempts to steer Bachelor away from his destructive path. Mark had a good heart. He was a good person deep down, but he couldn't escape the choices he'd made. In addition to facing arrests for assault, Bachelor was once picked up by the police for reckless driving. Interestingly, while he often found himself in trouble with the law, he also reported being a victim of assault multiple times. But nothing prepared the world for what unfolded on that fateful evening of July 15th, 2019. Bachelor was driving his white BMW X5 when 2 armed men on motorbikes pulled up beside him after tailing him for kilometers. Although Bachelor could not be blamed for his own murder, some speculate that had he been more aware of his surroundings, he might have noticed he was being followed. CCTV footage from his neighborhood later revealed the killers trailing him for a significant distance. However, eyewitnesses added a chilling detail. They claimed the hitmen had been waiting for him at the scene, appearing calm until the moment they opened fire. Armed with semi-automatic rifles, the assailants unleashed a barrage of bullets, 6 of which struck Bachelor in the chest and 1 in the head. Despite having his gardener in the car, the gunmen showed precision. They targeted Bachelor alone, leaving his companion unharmed. This calculated attack led investigators to conclude that it wasn't a robbery, but a professional hit. Reports soon linked his death to an alleged role in the theft of a massive cocaine shipment smuggled into South Africa in 2018. Police also noted similarities between Bachelor's killing and the murder of Ivar Janik, a Serbian national with ties to the underworld. Bachelor's temper and violent tendencies were no secret during his football career, and some believe they foreshadowed his later descent into criminal circles. Sports reporter Amos Moneto recounted a tense encounter with Bachelor in 2002 after publishing a story about an altercation at a training session. Bachelor had reportedly punched a teammate, leaving him with a gash above his eye. When Moneto confronted Bachelor about it, the towering footballer brushed it off as a minor incident. But tensions flared when Bachelor, enraged by the article, stormed toward Moneto, shirtless and intimidating. The journalist feared for his life until a marketing manager intervened. Amos's story highlights the duality of Bachelor's personality. On one hand, a respected athlete, and on the other, a man whose temper often got the better of him. His volatile nature, combined with the dangerous company he kept, likely played a role in his transition from football hero to underworld figure. Bachelor's murder is just one of many high-profile killings tied to the South African underworld. A grim reminder of how quickly one can fall from grace when treading dangerous paths. His life, marked by both triumph and turmoil, serves as a cautionary tale. Sadly, Bachelor's choices caught up with him. His entanglement in the underworld, combined with a history of violent altercations, made him a target. Just weeks before his murder, he was involved in several violent incidents. His death shocked those who remembered him as a football icon, leaving behind a complicated legacy of triumph, turmoil, and tragedy. Mark Bachelor's story is a stark reminder of how quickly one can fall from grace, and how dangerous it can be to tread the line between fame and infamy. Mark Bachelor's life and tragic end paint a picture of how fame, missteps, and dangerous associations can lead to an untimely demise. The former football star, known for his towering presence on the pitch, also became infamous for his explosive temper and controversial lifestyle off the field.
What did you mean when you said, "I have one previous conviction for fraud in 2005"?
The company, because that was the company that was charged in 2012.
Who was convicted of fraud?
It's the company.
You were the person in the case.
Was it
The
against
conviction
myself?
was against you.
Was it against myself?
Yes, it was. It was under your name.
It did go under my name.
Yes.
Where? Can you show me?
All right. That's your ID number, isn't it?
It says
Offense.
my ID number.
The offense is fraud.
But what case was this for?
The 2005 case.
Yeah,
Look at
but
the
that
case
was
number.
not in my name.
Yes, it is.
No, it was not in my name.
That's your ID number. That's your name.
Okay, then
That's
what
the
happened
offense.
to it?
This might just be a conspiracy, but it could hold some truth. This woman has been arrested multiple times for the same issue, yet each time she comes back stronger. How is she able to recover so quickly and rise to even greater wealth? This situation raises serious questions and needs to be thoroughly investigated. She had it all: millions in the bank, luxury mansions, designer clothes, and a reality TV show that made her a household name. But behind the glitz and glamour was a storm brewing. Fraud allegations, tax evasion claims, police raids, and even attempted assassinations. Shaun Mkhize's empire is now under siege. How did South Africa's most controversial businesswoman go from millionaire mogul to the center of one of the country's biggest financial scandals? This is the untold story of wealth, power, and the fight for survival. Kindly like and subscribe to my channel. Shaun Mkhize, popularly known as Mamkhize, is a prominent South African businesswoman, reality TV star, and philanthropist, widely recognized for her extravagant lifestyle and the success showcased in her reality show, Mamkhize. However, her rise to fame and fortune has not been without controversy. Mkhize has faced multiple allegations of financial misconduct, including tax evasion, fraud, and non-compliance with South African laws. This detailed account explores her ascent to prominence, her legal battles, and the ongoing investigations into her financial dealings. Sean Mkhize, a Durban-based tycoon with a taste for luxury and imported vehicles, was born and raised in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. She grew up in a family with political connections, as her mother, Florence Mkhize, was a prominent anti-apartheid activist. Mkhize initially built her wealth through construction contracts, including projects under South Africa's Reconstruction and Development Program, RDP. Her company, Zikhulisa Cleaning, Maintenance and Transport, secured several lucrative government contracts for low-cost housing developments. By the early 2000s, she had become a multi-millionaire and a well-known figure in South African business circles. Despite her business success, Mkhize's dealings have repeatedly been questioned. In 2005, she was convicted on 62 counts of fraud related to tenders awarded to her company. By 2012, she was facing 53 additional charges linked to government contracts worth 140 million rand, allegedly secured using falsified documents. In 2013, the South African Revenue Service, SARS, accused Mkhize of owing over 200 million rand in unpaid taxes. SARS responded by freezing her assets, including luxury vehicles, properties, and cash holdings. In 2024, SARS obtained a provisional preservation order to seize additional assets, including a fleet of luxury cars. However, Mkhize's security team allegedly prevented officials from executing the order, escalating tensions. Mkhize's financial dealings attracted heightened scrutiny. On November 27, 2024, heavily armed police and SARS officials raided her La Lucia mansion in Durban as part of an effort to recover approximately 37 million rand in unpaid taxes tied to the Shandy Trust, a family entity linked to her. The Durban High Court had granted SARS a search and seizure warrant, enabling them to gather evidence of non-compliance with tax laws. SARS Commissioner Edward Kieswetter justified the raid, stating that no individual is above the law and that it is critically important for SARS to act emphatically to ensure all meet their legal obligations. As investigations into Mkhize's financial affairs deepened, disturbing incidents raised further concerns. In July 2024, advocate Korth Nades, involved in a tax inquiry related to Mkhize, survived an attempted assassination. This incident followed the 2023 assassination of Kay Murray, a professional liquidator who had investigated some of Mkhize's financial dealings. Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nalanhla Mkhwanazi confirmed that the Hawks were investigating the attack on Nades, emphasizing concerns about possible efforts to obstruct financial investigations. The allegations against Mkhize have divided public opinion. Critics argue that her case reflects broader patterns of corruption and unethical business practices tied to government contracts. Supporters claim she is being unfairly targeted as a wealthy black woman, suggesting selective prosecution in a country where financial misconduct is widespread. Mkhize has consistently denied allegations of fraud and tax evasion, portraying herself as a victim of political and financial persecution. She remains defiant despite the mounting legal challenges, maintaining her opulent lifestyle and public persona. Inasmuch as she has her bad side, she was also a philanthropist. Sean Mkhize is widely regarded as a champion of black business empowerment and is committed to giving back to her community in KwaZulu-Natal through various charitable initiatives and bursary programs. In January 2020, she partnered with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture to select a school for a donation. As part of this initiative, she provided shoes and sanitary pads to Umlazi Comtech High School. She is also an advocate for social change, actively supporting the fight against gender-based violence, as well as HIV and AIDS awareness. Her philanthropic efforts primarily focus on uplifting women and children in KwaZulu-Natal. In recognition of her contributions to business and philanthropy, she was honored with the Woman of the Year award at the 2020 Hollywood and African Prestigious Awards. In April 2021, she collaborated with SABC1's Expressions and the Department of Correctional Services to construct 20 houses for underprivileged families. The project utilized prison labor, allowing inmates to contribute to community development. In 2020, Shaun Mkhize debuted her reality TV show, Kwa Mam Mkhize, which premiered on Mzansi Magic in January of that year. The show featured her children, Spal Mpusane and Andile Mpusane, along with members of her extended family. The series gained significant popularity and was awarded Best Reality TV Show at the 2020 Hollywood and African Prestigious Awards. In March 2021, she expanded her television presence by making her acting debut on the SABC1 soap opera Uzalo. She played the role of a mysterious and wealthy woman who finalizes the purchase of the KwaMashu Kingdom Church. The case of Shaun Mkhize highlights South Africa's ongoing struggle with corruption, government contracts, and financial mismanagement. As legal battles intensify, the outcome of these investigations will not only determine Mkhize's future, but could also set a precedent for high-profile financial crime cases in the country. During a televised interview, SARS officials reiterated their commitment to ensuring full compliance with tax laws. They emphasized that the Tax Administration Act prohibits them from discussing the specific details of an individual's tax affairs. SARS obtained a preservation order and a search and seizure warrant from the Durban High Court, which enabled them to lawfully raid Mkhize's properties in pursuit of unpaid taxes. The legal process will continue until SARS is satisfied that all financial obligations have been met and compliance is restored. SARS Commissioner Edward Queer firmly stated, "No one is above the law. We will use all legal avenues to ensure tax compliance, regardless of an individual's status or influence." Despite the legal pressure, Mkhize has remained defiant, dismissing the SARS investigations as a personal matter. However, SARS officials counter that tax compliance is a legal obligation, not a private concern, and that the alleged 37 million rand in unpaid taxes could have been allocated to public resources. Her legal team continues to fight the allegations, but SARS has made it clear that they will pursue recovery efforts until full compliance is achieved.
On February 2nd, 2021, William "Red" Stevens, a name whispered in fear across Cape Town's toughest corners, sat outside his home in Kraaifontein, a northern suburb of the city. The afternoon sun cast long shadows, but Red had no time to enjoy its warmth. He was a general in the notorious 27's gang, a title that carried both prestige and peril. Suddenly, 3 men emerged from the shadows, armed with military-grade weapons. Time seemed to freeze as Red faced what felt like an inevitable fate. This is the story of the hit that ended the reign of one of Cape Town's most feared gang leaders, a chilling tale of ambition, betrayal, and the violent reality of gang life. William Stevens wasn't born into a life of crime. Growing up in the dense suburbs of Cape Town, he faced struggles familiar to many young men in similar environments. For many, gang life was the only escape from poverty and despair, a means to gain respect and power in a world that offered little hope. As debates raged about why so many young men turned to gangs, opinions differed. Some pointed to the lingering inequalities of apartheid, while others emphasized personal choice. Regardless of the reasons, one truth remained. Once someone entered the world of gangs, there was rarely a way out, except through death, often violent. Red's journey into gang life began not on the streets but behind prison walls. As a teenager, he found himself incarcerated in South Africa's brutal prison system, where the infamous numbers gangs, the 26s, 27s, and 28s, held absolute control. Initially, Red joined the 26s, but it soon became clear he was no ordinary recruit. His peers noted his fierce nature and unquenchable thirst for violence. His actions earned him the nickname Red, a name that became synonymous with fear and respect. Within months, Red made the bold decision to switch allegiance, leaving the 26s for the more feared 27s. It's said that he fought his way into the gang, proving his worth through sheer brutality. Once accepted, he quickly climbed the ranks, earning the title of general. The 27s had a unique role within the numbers hierarchy. They were enforcers, maintaining order and discipline. Upon his release, Red wasted no time applying the lessons he had learned in prison to Cape Town's streets. Red saw the potential for the 27s to operate like mercenaries, selling protection services to other gangs. But his ambition clashed with tradition. The 27s weren't supposed to earn money outside prison walls. Ignoring this code, Red transformed the 27s into an independent gang, selling their services to the highest bidder. This defiance of tradition created enemies, both within and outside the gang. As Red's reputation grew, so did the dangers surrounding him. The story of William Red Stevens takes a turn into deeper shadows as we examine the rules he broke and the enemies he made. The underworld thrives on codes, and when those codes are shattered, chaos is inevitable. Red's growing reputation as the go-to man for high-stakes jobs came with its share of danger. In Cape Town's posh corridors, a new player emerged, Mark Liffman. A kingpin with aspirations to dominate the property and investment sectors, Liffman found himself at odds with Brian Weinstein, also known as the Steroid King. Weinstein wasn't just another name. He was a titan in the steroid trade, importing raw materials from Turkey, Greece, and China, raking in monthly profits of 600,000 rand. But their clash wasn't solely about money. It was about control. Both men sought to launder their dirty cash through property investments, escalating their rivalry. With tensions mounting, Liffman decided it was time to strike, and he turned to Red to carry out his plan. Late one afternoon, Liffman made the fateful call. As Red showered, his business ringtone echoed. Answering swiftly, he listened as Liffman mentioned a name and an offer, a six-figure bounty. Red, the undisputed king of assassins, now had a target, Brian Weinstein. Unbeknownst to Red, Weinstein's most dangerous enemy was someone much closer, his own bodyguard. Paid 10,000 rand monthly to protect Weinstein, this man had grown dissatisfied. Hungry for power, he saw an opportunity to claim the steroid empire for himself. Whispers reached Liffman about the bodyguard's discontent. Seizing the chance, he initiated secret negotiations, promising the bodyguard a larger share of the spoils if he betrayed his boss. With trust shattered and greed driving the plot, Red began assembling a team for the job. Red's lethal network included Cheslin Adams and Fabian Cupido, trusted hitmen with reputations for ruthless efficiency. In a discreet meeting, the details were laid out. The bodyguard would unlock the back door, disable the alarms, and ensure Weinstein was caught unprepared. Adams and Cupido would execute the hit swiftly and vanish before authorities could react. The stakes were monumental. This wasn't just another job. It was a high-risk operation with massive implications. On August 17, 2017, the plan went into motion. Adams and Cupido approached Weinstein's luxurious home in Constantia, armed with precise instructions. Inside, Weinstein slept beside his partner and child. Adams hesitated momentarily when met with the innocent gaze of Weinstein's child. But hesitation didn't last. 5 shots echoed through the night, leaving Weinstein dead. Outside, Cupido waited anxiously in the getaway car, uncertain if the plan had gone as expected. When Adams emerged, he was visibly shaken but composed. News of Weinstein's murder spread rapidly through Cape Town's underworld, igniting whispers and speculation. Confident the plan had succeeded, Liffman paid Red the promised 250,000 rand. For a time, it seemed foolproof. However, the assassination of such a prominent figure drew the full attention of the South African anti-gang unit. Investigators soon caught a break when one of the hitmen, overwhelmed and isolated, turned state witness in exchange for protection. His betrayal unraveled the conspiracy, leading to Liffman's arrest and, surprisingly, Red's as well. Though Red managed to secure bail, his once unassailable reputation took a hit. Within the 27's gang, murmurs of discontent grew louder. Many blamed Red for attracting undue attention and violating the traditional codes of the numbers gangs. His hunger for power had made him a target both inside and outside the gang. By February 2021, Red was a marked man. Sitting outside his Kryfontaine home, he had no idea death was closing in. A blue Hyundai pulled up, and 3 gunmen emerged. In seconds, semi-automatic gunfire tore through the air. 9 bullets struck Red, ending his reign and plunging Cape Town's underworld into chaos. Red's assassination wasn't just another killing. It was a calculated move to silence the secrets he carried. Rumors swirled, implicating powerful figures from the steroid empire saga, but no concrete evidence emerged. Red's death left a power vacuum. Rival gangs, including the 28s, scrambled to claim his territories, turning the Cape Flats into a war zone. The 27s, once united under his leadership, fractured as accusations of betrayal and ambition tore them apart. Red's story is a grim reminder of the cycle of violence that defines gang life. For all his power and influence, he ultimately fell victim to the same ruthless world he once ruled. Red's funeral was a spectacle, attended by hundreds, from gang members to curious onlookers. Tributes elevated him to near mythical status, but his life serves as a stark warning. In the end, loyalty, secrecy, and power in the underworld are fleeting, and the cost is always paid in blood.
4 men, including taxi boss Vusi Reginald Matibela, better known as Keke, have been convicted for killing businessman Wandile Bozwana.
How did a young man from Mamelodi rise to control one of South Africa's most dangerous industries, only to be taken down by shocking murder allegations? This is the untold story of Vusi Keke Matibela, the man once known as Mamelodi's #1 Tsotsi. Vusi Matibela was born and raised in Mamelodi, a sprawling township east of Pretoria, South Africa. Mamelodi, like many South African townships, is characterized by high unemployment, economic inequality, and a culture of resilience amidst adversity. These challenges often push individuals to pursue unconventional paths for survival and success. It is in this environment that Matibela grew up, exposed to both the harsh realities and the entrepreneurial spirit that thrives in such communities. From a young age, Matibela is believed to have been street smart, quickly learning how to navigate the socio-economic hardships of township life. The sense of survival ingrained in him during these formative years likely played a pivotal role in shaping his assertive personality. The taxi industry is one of the most prominent sectors in South Africa, especially in townships like Mamelodi. Minibus taxis are the primary mode of transportation for millions of South Africans, making the sector lucrative but notoriously violent due to competition over routes and dominance. Matibela's initial exposure to the industry might have come through his family, friends, or other connections. Many young men in townships start by working as taxi marshals or drivers, which could have been Matibela's entry point. His natural charisma and leadership qualities likely made him stand out, allowing him to climb the ranks relatively quickly. By his early 20s, Matibela had reportedly established himself as a player in the local taxi industry. His rise to power was not only due to business acumen, but also through his ability to inspire loyalty and fear. Matibela built a network of drivers, enforcers, and associates who helped him gain control over key routes in and around Pretoria. He capitalized on the fragmented nature of the taxi industry, where competition often leads to violence and extortion. Through a combination of strategic alliances, intimidation, and possibly leveraging weaknesses in law enforcement oversight, Matibela expanded his influence. His reputation as Mamelodi #1 Tsotsi symbolized his feared status and marked him as a dominant figure both in the taxi industry and the broader community. As his power grew, Mathibula diversified his operations, reportedly extending into extortion rackets targeting local businesses and shop owners. By demanding protection fees and using violent means to eliminate rivals or dissenters, he became one of the most feared figures in Mamelodi. His alleged criminal empire not only brought him wealth, but also made him a target of law enforcement. Despite his notoriety, Mathibula managed to maintain a public persona that combined elements of fear, respect, and authority, traits often seen in figures who dominate township economies through both legal and illegal means. Mathibula's reputation escalated when he became embroiled in legal battles, including charges of extortion, assault, and organized crime. His alleged activities involved controlling local businesses in Mamelodi and enforcing payments through intimidation. One of the most significant cases against him is the murder of Wandile Bozwana, a prominent businessman, in 2015. Wandile Bozwana was a prominent businessman known for his involvement in government tenders. He owned a successful construction company and a large property portfolio, with one of his luxury homes showcased on top billing. In 2013, Bozwana secured a government tender to construct a hospital in Brits. While the project remained unfinished, he demanded payment for work already completed, and a court awarded him a settlement of 30 million rand. When the government delayed payment, Bozwana took legal action, attaching government assets valued at 30 million rand to recoup his funds. Less than a week after this bold move, he was assassinated in a brutal execution. While traveling with a business associate near the Crossfontaine turnoff on the N1, a BMW M3 pulled up alongside their vehicle, and gunmen opened fire, killing Bozwana. The murder was immediately linked to Bozwana's contentious relationship with Supra Mahumapelo, the then premier of the Northwest Province. Bozwana had openly criticized the province's corruption, which was so severe that the National Treasury intervened to take over its finances. Bozwana's legal battles and public condemnation of the Northwest government earned him powerful enemies. He was seen as a whistleblower, speaking out against systemic looting and corruption. His willingness to challenge authority made him a target. Vusi Keke, a young and feared taxi boss, was accused of organizing Bozwana's assassination. By his late 20s, Kekana had established a taxi empire and built a reputation for ruthlessness. His connections extended to influential political figures and business leaders. Witness testimony revealed that KK provided the weapons and funded the hit. Although one accomplice later recanted their confession, claiming police brutality. The investigation exposed a tangled web of political intrigue. Allegations surfaced that Supra Mahumapelo and former Rustenburg mayor Matthew Wolmarans offered 10 million rand to assassins to kill Bozwana. These claims were detailed in an affidavit by a gang member turned state witness. Another prominent figure implicated in the case was Fikile Mbalula, a senior ANC official. Reports suggested that Mbalula owed Bozwana money and was seen with him days before the murder. Bozwana had reportedly lent Mbalula 1 million rand for a 2015 trip to Las Vegas to attend the Mayweather vs. Pacquiao boxing match. The funds were allegedly funneled through radio DJ Thibaut Touch's account. Bozwana's defiance against political corruption and his legal victories made him a threat to powerful interests. He had insider knowledge of corrupt dealings and had openly challenged those involved. His refusal to back down in court and his bold actions to seize government assets likely sealed his fate. KK, meanwhile, appears to have been a pawn in a larger game. As seen in other cases, taxi bosses are often recruited by politicians or business rivals to carry out assassinations, leveraging their reputation for violence. This case underscores the dangers of mixing politics, business, and personal loyalty. Botswana's murder serves as a stark reminder of how betrayal can come from those once considered allies. As one observer noted, discussing money around those who aren't part of the deal can breed envy and danger. Botswana's legacy is one of courage and defiance in the face of corruption. His tragic end sheds light on the murky intersection of power, crime, and politics in South Africa. On that fateful afternoon of the 2nd of October, 2015, Botswana and his girlfriend, Mpho Baloyi, had stopped at the traffic light on the N1 Garsfontein off-ramp when a BMW M3 pulled up next to them and a man got out and opened fire. Botswana, 43, who died later at Unitas Hospital in Pretoria, was hit at least 9 times. Baloyi was hit twice. Mathibela, Sifo Patrick Hudla, Matamela Robert Mutapa, and Bonginkosi Paul Kumalo were arrested in connection with the attack and pleaded not guilty to the crime. In June 2022, the 4 men were found guilty of the murder of Botswana and the attempted murder of Baloyi. The state argued that the footage proved that Botswana's murder was planned and that the 4 had acted with a common purpose to commit the crime. Police National Commissioner General Fanny Masemola praised the SA Police Service's National Cold Case Unit, Gauteng detectives, and arresting officers for their relentless pursuit of justice in the case. He said, for the past 9 years, the investigating team had been hard at work putting together a watertight case that ultimately led to lengthy sentences for 4 accused. Masemola encouraged detectives across the country to maintain a high standard and quality of investigation in the best interest of victims of crime and service delivery to the people of South Africa. The Pretoria High Court sentenced controversial Mamelodi businessman Vusi Keke, Mathibela, and 3 others to 30 years in prison for the murder of Northwest businessman Wandile Botswana and the attempted murder of his woman companion. Despite initial attempts to secure bail, Mathibela's bail was revoked after violating its terms by traveling internationally without proper authorization. Mathibela's control extended beyond the taxi industry. He was rumored to be connected to broader criminal networks, leveraging his power to enforce compliance from both business owners and rivals. His arrest and eventual conviction were seen as victories for law enforcement, although they also highlighted ongoing challenges in combating organized crime in South Africa. In the Bishop Lavis area of South Africa, rumors swirled that Peter Jaggers, a notorious gang leader, had vanished after being linked to a cocaine shipment allegedly lost at sea. According to his family, he had been summoned to a meeting in Kenya and was not seen again after March 26, 2024. On that same day, the Maritime Rescue Coordinating Center received a distress call from a location roughly 80 miles off the coast of Simonstown. 2 rescue boats were dispatched and found 6 men stranded on a fishing boat in the middle of the ocean. The men claimed they had run out of fuel during a fishing expedition. Rescued and brought back to shore, the group appeared relieved, but only they knew the true nature of their ordeal. If successful, they were about to become incredibly wealthy. One of the men immediately called his relative, Peter Jaggers, the leader of a feared Cape Town gang. Peter instructed him to send the second boat as planned. Jaggers had been working with the Colombian cartels and the Bulgarian mafia as a middleman, facilitating the transport of drugs. Typically, the Colombians would seal cocaine in a container, wrap it with a GPS tracker, and share its location with Jaggers, who would retrieve the shipment and deliver it to the Bulgarians. But this time, Jaggers decided to keep the entire shipment for himself. a decision that would prove fatal. The second boat was dispatched to the GPS coordinates, where the crew retrieved approximately 1,500 pounds of cocaine. This would have made them billionaires in South African rand, but it also put them at odds with two of the world's most ruthless criminal organizations. To cover their tracks, the gang devised a plan. The first boat, used as a decoy, pretended to have lost the container at sea due to bad weather and a lack of fuel. Meanwhile, the second boat completed the pickup. For a moment, it seemed their plan had worked. 48 hours later, a Colombian cartel boss received a call from a Bulgarian contact. What started as a congratulatory exchange quickly turned tense when the Bulgarians accused the Colombians of deceit. The Colombian, realizing something had gone wrong, promised to investigate and called one of his most trusted hitmen. A ticket from Colombia to Johannesburg was booked immediately. By June 2024, Jaggers, aware of the risk, had gone into hiding. However, he received an invitation to meet his Bulgarian associates in Johannesburg to discuss the lost shipment. Not wanting to arouse suspicion, he accepted the invitation. On July 3rd, 2024, Peter Jaggers and his associate, William Peterson, arrived at the Johannesburg International Airport. They were warmly welcomed by Bulgarian representatives and escorted to the luxurious Emperor's Palace Hotel, where they were booked into a suite. The warm reception was a ruse. Hours later, the Bulgarians escorted Jaggers and Peterson to a car, supposedly for a meeting. Midway through the ride, a Colombian hitman entered the vehicle. Smiling, he brandished a gun, signaling to Jaggers that his time had run out. Back in Cape Town, Jaggers' wife became concerned when he stopped responding to her messages. On July 5th, she reported him missing at the Bishop Lavis police station. Shortly afterward, she received a chilling message from an unknown number. It was a proof of life message from the Colombian cartel, demanding the return of the cocaine. If their demands weren't met, Jaggers and Peterson would never be seen alive again. Despite desperate attempts to negotiate, the cartel dismissed all offers, including working off the debt. Communication from the Colombians ceased. On October 11th, 2024, 4 months after Jaggers' disappearance, a passerby near the Vale River in South Africa spotted something unusual. Authorities were called to the scene and discovered the bodies of Peter Jaggers and William Peterson, chained and weighted to keep them submerged. The autopsy revealed that they had been tortured for months before being executed, a punishment typical of South American cartels for those who betray them. Jaggers' story is a grim reminder of the brutal consequences of crossing the wrong criminal organizations. His ambition and betrayal ultimately sealed his fate, leaving behind a legacy of caution for others in the dangerous world of organized crime. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe to this channel. See you in our next video. In the Bishop Lavis area of South Africa, rumors swirled that Peter Jaggers, a notorious gang leader, had vanished after being linked to a cocaine shipment allegedly lost at sea. According to his family, he had been summoned to a meeting in Kenya and was not seen again after March 26, 2024. On that same day, the Maritime Rescue Coordinating Center received a distress call from a location roughly 80 miles off the coast of Simonstown. 2 rescue boats were dispatched and found 6 men stranded on a fishing boat in the middle of the ocean. The men claimed they had run out of fuel during a fishing expedition. Rescued and brought back to shore, the group appeared relieved. But only they knew the true nature of their ordeal. If successful, they were about to become incredibly wealthy. One of the men immediately called his relative, Peter Jaggers, the leader of a feared Cape Town gang. Peter instructed him to send the second boat as planned. Jaggers had been working with the Colombian cartels and the Bulgarian mafia as a middleman, facilitating the transport of drugs. Typically, the Colombians would seal cocaine in a container, wrap it with a GPS tracker, and share its location with Jaggers, who would retrieve the shipment and deliver it to the Bulgarians. But this time, Jaggers decided to keep the entire shipment for himself, a decision that would prove fatal. The second boat was dispatched to the GPS coordinates, where the crew retrieved approximately 1,500 pounds of cocaine. This would have made them billionaires in South African rand, but it also put them at odds with two of the world's most ruthless criminal organizations. To cover their tracks, the gang devised a plan. The first boat, used as a decoy, pretended to have lost the container at sea due to bad weather and a lack of fuel. Meanwhile, the second boat completed the pickup. For a moment, it seemed their plan had worked. 48 hours later, a Colombian cartel boss received a call from a Bulgarian contact. What started as a congratulatory exchange quickly turned tense when the Bulgarians accused the Colombians of deceit. The Colombian, realizing something had gone wrong, promised to investigate and called one of his most trusted hitmen. A ticket from Colombia to Johannesburg was booked immediately. By June 2024, Jaggers, aware of the risk, had gone into hiding. However, he received an invitation to meet his Bulgarian associates in Johannesburg to discuss the lost shipment. Not wanting to arouse suspicion, he accepted the invitation. On July 3, 2024, Peter Jaggers and his associate, William Peterson, arrived at the Johannesburg International Airport. They were warmly welcomed by Bulgarian representatives and escorted to the luxurious Emperor's Palace Hotel, where they were booked into a suite. The warm reception was a ruse. Hours later, the Bulgarians escorted Jaggers and Peterson to a car, supposedly for a meeting. Midway through the ride, a Colombian hitman entered the vehicle. Smiling, he brandished a gun, signaling to Jaggers that his time had run out. Back in Cape Town, Jaggers' wife became concerned when he stopped responding to her messages. On July 5th, she reported him missing at the Bishop Lavis police station. Shortly afterward, she received a chilling message from an unknown number. It was a proof-of-life message from the Colombian cartel, demanding the return of the cocaine. If their demands weren't met, Jaggers and Peterson would never be seen alive again. Despite desperate attempts to negotiate, the cartel dismissed all offers, including working off the debt. Communication from the Colombians ceased. On October 11, 2024, 4 months after Jaggers' disappearance, a passerby near the Vaal River in South Africa spotted something unusual. Authorities were called to the scene and discovered the bodies of Peter Jaggers and William Peterson, chained and weighted to keep them submerged. The autopsy revealed that they had been tortured for months before being executed, a punishment typical of South American cartels for those who betray them. Jaggers' story is a grim reminder of the brutal consequences of crossing the wrong criminal organizations. His ambition and betrayal ultimately sealed his fate, leaving behind a legacy of caution for others in the dangerous world of organized crime.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up
do, so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move, so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams into modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do, so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move, so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness.